Hello and welcome to Tantrum House Guy's Top 10 Games of the Year.
Hey gang, thanks for joining us at Tantrum House Studio 3. Today we are putting together our top 10 guys list of the year. These are our favorite games for the past year, games that were published in 2022, and as per the tradition, the ladies video is coming up right after this one, so be sure to like ours first, share it with all your friends, and then go watch their video to see what their take is on the top 10 games of the year. We've got some giveaways to talk about.
So this video gets 3,000 likes. What happens, Jonah?
If we get 3,000 likes on this video, we are actually going to give away each of our top game of the year. Woo! That means 4 different games are being given away to 4 lucky watchers, commenters on this video, and they are good games.
It's gonna be amazing. And then on top of that, we always like to shake it up just a little bit, so we're gonna have some fun. Yeah. We've got some taped squares on the floor behind us. We are gonna be stacking up our games to see who has the tallest stack. Whoever wins gets $1 million.
Mr. B style!
Just kidding, I'm too poor, you get nothing except for the satisfaction of knowing that your games are the largest. We want your votes in the comments though right now. So don't wait till the end of the video, don't scroll to the end. Give us your votes. Who do you think likes the biggest games? Who has the most dexterity? I don't know what you're voting on.
Whatever stack won't fall.
You can't touch the tape.
No.
Okay.
Your games can't fall over.
Nope.
Okay, if we have to steal a game, you gotta rebuild. If we're stealing, you gotta rebuild.
Okay.
Is that your only chance? That's your only chance to rebuild. No cheat stacking.
No cheats. Tallest tower wins.
Okay.
Here we go.
Number 10. My number 10 is Tenpenny Parks because it has the word 10 in it. No, I'm just joking. It's got fun worker placement, tile laying with Tetris-like tiles you're playing in your amusement park. It's got art from my favorite artist, Vincent Dutray, and I like going up the different tracks in the game. That's Tenpenny Parks from Thunderworks Games.
My number 10 is Lacrimosa. It's right side up. From Devir Games. It is about writing a symphony, I believe, and you have these cards. You can either use them for their action or for a resource, so you have to decide whether you're going to do the top or the bottom. There's 3 areas of the board, and each one has kind of its own resource, so you got to kind of weigh, do I focus all on one side of the board, or do I make sure I get a little bit of everything? And meanwhile, you're trying to build up your hand, cycle out some of the cards you don't like, and get better cards that you can play in future rounds. So, Lacrimosa, check it out.
My number 10 game of the year is Revive from Aporta Games. In this game, it's like 5,000 years after the fall of mankind, and you're here to revive civilization. I really like the personal player board with these different tracks that you kind of unlock, kind of in this circular motion as you play the game, and that's why it's in my number 10 spot.
Just kidding?
What?
Already feeling one! Alright, so my number 10 game was actually a different game that I found that isn't published this year. So I'm sliding this up. This was in my number 9 slot. I'm bringing Tenpenny Parks to the number 10 row. This game features some really neat art, some really fun components. It's got some rondelle shopping action. It's got some polyomino shaped pieces that you're trying to fit together. A lot of fun in Tenpenny Parks. I agree with Kevin. It makes sense to be right at number 10. Number 9. My number 9 game is not here because it's so much fun, somebody else is playing it. It is Hand-to-Hand Wombat from Exploding Kittens. This is a game where you are dexterously working as a team to put together a stack of cubes. If you need to Google Wombat and cube together, go do that. And then the crazy part is that there's a traitor in the mix who is trying to mess you all up. Your eyes are closed. It is a great time. You will sweat, you will fight, you will laugh. Go check out Hand-to-Hand Wombat.
My number 9 game is Foundations of Rome. This is a huge box, as you can kind of tell.
Cheat.
What do you mean? It's not cheating. I don't know if it's going to fit in my square. Anyway, I love this game from Arcane Wonders because in the game, you're like purchasing deeds, trying to acquire deeds that kind of fit in the same kind of area in the map in order to get bigger buildings out on this game. I thought it was really fun. They've got a few expansions that are even out currently that really add to the game, and that's why it's in my number 9 spot.
My number 9 spot is Wonderland's War from Druid City Games and Skybound. I played this at a convention a while back. It was lots of fun. It was lots of fun. And basically, you kind of have some asymmetrical character powers. I was the Jabberwock. I don't know what's going on back there. And it was so much fun. We backed this on Kickstarter, and as you can see, it's still in the shrink wrap. Haven't gotten a chance to actually play it this year, but looking forward to doing it over Christmas. I remember it was an amazing game, and that's why it's my number 9.
My number 9 is Wormholes from AEG. This is a streamlined pick up and deliver game. I played this like 12 times this year. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I love that it's easy to introduce to new players so that they can just jump right in and go. And I just really like how in the game you are actually figuring out where should you place the wormholes. So that strategic placement of the wormholes just really, I really enjoy that every time I play the game. Wormholes from AEG.
How many you got there, right? 1, 2, 3. Just one,
2 games.
One game.
Number 8. Pedal to the Metal from Days of Wonder. I just got to play this game just this past month or so, and it's about deck management. Well, it's not about deck management. It's a racing game, but the basic mechanic is deck management. And it's interesting because you're not just trying to have a really good engine, but you are trying to manage your deck around the curves, that you don't play too many cards at the wrong time. So there's very specific times in the course that you're trying to have certain cards come out specifically so that you can just pedal to the metal and win that game, the race. Heat, pedal to the metal, my number 8.
Woodcraft from Delicious Games. This is a dice sort of manipulation game where you are cutting dice throughout the game. You're gluing dice together, not literally, but figuratively in the game. There's a lot going in this game, so there's a lot to wrap your mind around, and you're doing all this to complete goals of different colored dice and different numbers and things like that. I've gotten better and better every time, and I feel like I enjoy the game every time I play it. That first learning game was pretty brutal though. But that's Woodcraft from Delicious Games.
Whoa, whoa.
Thank you. Woodcraft is also my number 8 game of the year. I really enjoyed the ability to manipulate the dice in this game. They've got some different options where you can glue them together, you can slice them in half, you can continue slice. It's really fun. If you have not checked out Woodcraft, you certainly should, and it'll be joining my stack now. Thanks.
Thanks, Jonah.
Coming in at number 8 for me is the game Fun Facts from Repos Productions. This is a party game that allows you to play a trivia style game without having to know any trivia whatsoever. We got a great opportunity to play this over the holiday break and played through probably every single card in the deck. Family fun for people from ages 4 to 94 for sure. Anybody can play this, it's a great time, and it's the type of game that builds those like inside jokes between family, and I have a feeling this is going to become a tradition for us. Fun Facts.
Number 7. My number 7 game is Ready, Set, Bet from AEG. This is a horse racing live betting game. And so here's the thing. It plays 2 to 9 people. I'm not sure if I'm willing to say that this is a top 10 game with less than 7, 8, or 9 people. It makes it so much more fun the more people that you have, and that you can go as fast as you can, kind of rolling the dice and betting on these horses. It is super fun. We've had a great time playing it. Ready, Set, Bet.
I'm bringing to the table Terracotta Army, which is from Board and Dice. This is it's got a rondelle mechanic in it. It's also got a placement based on your goals type of thing going on. And what intrigued me about it is just the concept of these terracotta statues being all lined up in a row and scoring in a lot of different ways. I feel like this is a game that takes the aspect of luck, where you may not quite get the lineup that you want of resources on the rondelle, but then having to like work with the resources you can get in order to build the best with it, and does it very elegantly. Terracotta Army.
Mine is another board and dice game, but a different one. This is Tiletum, and I think this is probably one of my most Euro-y type games set in the medieval times. I love the mechanic in this game where you're pulling a die from this rondelle, and that determines like what the resource is and your actions and things like that. I really enjoyed that in the game. There's a lot of different ways to get points. which I enjoy in this game. This game reminded me a little bit of an older game called Castell, where you're scoring at different points in the game based on where the cities are, and I thought that was pretty cool. I haven't really seen that mechanic in many games, but this is Tiletum from Board and Dice, my number 7.
I have no worries about this, Joey. Yours I could blow over right now.
And
mine,
My
steady base.
My number 7 from Queen Games is Old London Bridge. You are trying to draft buildings to go on the bridge because, as we all know, Old London Bridge it was like a city in and of itself, a little marketplace. And the buildings you're trying to draft, they all have to be sequential. Well, not the next number, but it has to be either ascending or descending. I can't remember which because I played it both ways. One of them's wrong. And depending on which spoke of the draw pile you draw from, you get a different action or a bonus or resource or something like that. And you have to weigh, do I try to get the next tile, the next building in the row, but it's going to limit me on what I can get later, or do I just suffer now and get just a park, which doesn't get you anything but resets your numbers? Or do I take negative points for messing it up and replacing one of your previous buildings? So there's a few different ways to score in the game, and I found it really enjoyable. This is my number 7, Old London Bridge.
I need revive.
Oh, you get a chance to restack?
My number 6 is Revive. I really enjoy games that have asymmetrical player powers. It really helps me focus on the direction I want to go in a game, and Revive has this. It has a sort of a mini campaign going on in the game too, where you are unlocking modules from game to game, so you're getting more characters and other things that add to the gameplay. I really enjoy that. There's different tracks that you're going up, and I found, little strategy hint here, I found sort of focusing on 1 or 2 of those tracks really helped me earn a lot of points. To win Revive, I really like Revive from Aporta.
My number 6 is Planet Unknown from Adam's Apple Games. You are drafting tiles off of a rondel, and as you turn the rondel, whoever turns it, they influence the next person's draw. And you're trying to get out certain terraforming ecology types at different points to go up different tracks. And there's even an asymmetrical way to play the game where each of you has a little bit different powers that you get to do, that you unlock as you go up those tracks, and a little bit different goals as well. So I really enjoyed Planet Unknown. Check it out, my number 6.
Coming at you with my number 6, which is Decorum from Floodgate Games. This is a cooperative game where there's lots of passive aggressiveness going on in it. You live in an apartment together. There are 4 rooms in this apartment. You each have very unique and specific needs for what you want as far as decorations and decor and paint color, and you're trying to work together without actually communicating with each other in order to try and fulfill those roles. I think I've played every single non-solo scenario in the game. Some of them are tough. It is a lot of fun to be able to play. It's an enjoyable one that looks easy on the table and isn't hard to grasp the mechanics in, but is actually like a really great puzzle to solve, and it's a lot of fun to play together.
Oh, touching the tape!
Does he lose because he's out tape?
My number 6 is Tenpenny Parks from Thunderworks game. One of the reasons I love this game is that even at a full player count, which is 4 players, it probably still won't take you more than about an hour to play. I really enjoy that while the game is fun and there's strategy and complexity in it, the rules are very simple. They've got a few unique tracks that you're moving up at the bottom of the game board, and it's really unique how the player pieces kind of score based on where they're stacked in the track, and that's the reason it's my number 6.
I'm gonna see you put this
Here
on.
we go.
There
Let's
we
go. Jenga.
Where you putting that?
Go.
Jenga, Jenga.
The good thing is I don't think I'm taking any of the rest of those games out of his stack. So
I'm taking Fantasia the room.
Are you?
Ooh, you're gonna regret that.
Number 5.
My number 5 game is kind of all over the place because Moonrakers from Ivy Studios actually came out, I think, in 2020. This year they had a very successful Kickstarter campaign and are adding like 3 or 4 new expansions to the game. This year they also published their new online version of the game, which you can play. It is a semi-cooperative game, which I honestly am not usually a fan of, but in this game you have to strategically work with each other in order to fulfill your missions and goals, but then like slip past everybody at the end of the game in order to take the victory. Moonrakers from Ivy Studios, number 5. All right, I'm bringing it in. This is where the heat comes in. This is actually only one part of the game, of course.
Okay.
My number 5 is Endless Winter Paleoamericans from Fantasia. Now, full disclosure, this game was actually our 2020 Kickstarter of the year, and if you back this game on Kickstarter, you can see our cool stamp right here. But this game officially delivered and came to backers in 2022, and that is why it is on my list in the 5 spot. If you haven't played this game, you should totally check it out. There's a lot going on. It's from one of our favorite designers, Johnny Pack. It's my number 5 game.
Well, my number 5 game. Sorry, Will. No! I had so much fun building that. It is.
Now I gotta rebuild it. All right.
This one. How do you want to extricate? Let's try it. I'm not doing it. So you all heard Will gush about Decorum, and for all the reasons he likes it, I also like it. I thought it was a great kind of. It's cooperative, but there's some conflict there, you know, some passive-aggressive like, no, I don't like that in this room. So I really enjoyed playing it from Floodgate Games, my number 5, Decorum. It was upside down.
My number 5 is Mosaic from Forbidden Games. Now, I'll be honest, I was a little intimidated to play this game. As you can tell, it's pretty massive. So it actually stayed on the shelf for quite a while, and I didn't play it. I actually am kicking myself because of that, because I actually really enjoyed this game. It looked like this huge battle game where people are just like ganging up on each other in this sort of map where you're sprawling out and trying to do that. I don't mind that, but usually those games take a long time to play. This game doesn't take that long to play. I mean, it's a longer game, but it's not that long of a game. What I really like about Mosaic is that there's multiple things that you're doing in the game. It's not just spreading out on the map. And there's a lot of card driven things going on in the game. And I love games that have that kind of game mechanic in it. That card driven really appeals to me. So this is Mosaic from Forbidden Games.
Number 4. My number 4 is Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest. Did I get that right? I did. Winds of Galecrest from Stonemaier Games. If you've seen my top 10 games of all time video, you will know that the original Libertalia was on there, and this is an improvement. It's not just the second edition, it's a new revamped edition where they've tweaked some of the rules, some of the things that could be a little bit smoother have been smoothed out, and there's some new additional rules as well. There's new cards. They've just fleshed out the whole game and given it a nice new veneer. I love it a lot. Libertalia, Winds of Galecrest, my number 4.
Elizabeth Hargrave and Stonemaier did it again at the number 4 spot on my list. It is Wingspan Asia. I know what you're thinking. Hey, hold on a second. That's an expansion. Not so fast. They put a standalone version, 2-player standalone version called Duet Mode in this game. If you have not tried their 2-player version, their new board, their kind of yin-yang symbols that you can release every time you play an egg or play a bird, you have to try this out. This is everything that you wanted from Wingspan. Like I said, they did it again. It's the number 4 spot.
My number 4 from AEG is Verdant. This is a card placement tableau building style game where you're going to be trying to put the right plants in the right rooms where they can get the right amount of sun. This is a nice puzzly type of game that I think has a great appeal for it's not quite Wingspan-ish like, but like Wingspan, where it kind of introduces you to like real facts about birds, you got the real facts about plants. It's a very steady-paced game that is a mind puzzle that you can build out on the table together. It gives you a really beautiful table presence when you're done, and I think it has a lot of just endearing features that I think is going to make it a classic. And so in my number 4 spot is Verdant.
All right, My number 4 spot is
What do you take?
on Will stack.
Yay!
Moonrakers.
Moonrakers with the whole stack?
No.
It's a good one.
Taking Terracotta.
Oh, from the bottom. Slow down, slow down. Oh. Recenter, focus. I'm over the tape now.
Mine is Terracotta Army from Board and Dice. The theme really intrigued me, and the gameplay made me stay with the worker placement, where there's these discs that are spinning throughout the game that make you take different types of actions and getting different types of resources. And then there's the area sort of majority over in the other area. That is very enjoyable. The miniatures are cool, so theme plus gameplay, mechanics, Terracotta Army, my number 4.
Number 3. My number 3 is coming out of Kevin's pile. Red Rover, stay for down right over.
I thought you were taking Mosaic. I was gonna see it on top.
Okay, my number 3 game is Tiletum from Board and Dice. I really enjoyed this game because of the cool player interaction with the dice and how that works. In this game, there's a really cool rondel where you, whatever color the dice is, that's kind of how many resources you get. But the opposite side of the dice is how many actions you can take, all particular to where that dice sits in the rondel. I really enjoyed that. This is Tiletum, my number 3 game of the year from Board and Dice.
I'm stealing his. Am I going next? Before you stack that puppy, let me just slide out a little into this winter.
It's sliding.
I mean, you kind of slide.
But I can restack, right?
You can restack. This is your chance. Endless Winter, as Jonah mentioned, this has actually been, I think, on my top 10 list last year when I cheated it ahead of year. Actually published this year. A lot of really fantastic things going on in the game. They have a way of building these games. There's a new one coming out next year, Unconscious Mind, where there's like a bunch of different boards that you're doing a bunch of different things on, and they all tie together, and you can't neglect one of them at all, you'll lose the game. And it's a really great aesthetic. I love the illustration style in the game, and the gameplay itself is fantastic as well. Endless Winter.
Mine is Sky Mines from Pegasus Spiel. Now, there are so many things I like about Sky Mines, but one of the main things is the cards. I mentioned that earlier in the video about a different game, but how the cards are used, the card gameplay mechanic on where they go in my tableau and then they're moving up to the next round, and where they are will influence what cards I get back in later rounds. I really find that interesting. Also, there's different tracks that you're going up around the main game board that give you different benefits, which is cool. And then there's some area majority going on as well with the different corporations. So all of those things make Sky Mines my number 3.
And my number 3 is Turing Machine from Scorpion Mask. It is a really interesting game. There's these punch cards, and then you are trying to guess a sequence of 3 numbers. So you might draw the 4, the 2, and the 1, and I'll put them out in your little punch card. And then you compare them to these clues, and they tell you how far off you are. You know, should the 4 be higher or lower? Should the 2 be lower than the 4 or higher? I don't know. I've only gotten to play it a little bit, but it was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it, and that's why it's my number 3, Turing Machine.
Number 2! Alright, we are down to the top 2 games of our list for the year. I can't believe it. I picked a very small one, which may be a mistake. However, it is not a mistake because Green Team Wins from 20th Century Games is a fantastic party game. I've had several party games on my list, and this one rose to the top for a couple reasons. I think one is that when you play this game, you get the enjoyment of playing a cooperative game because you're on the green team and you, like, everybody's playing together. You also get the enjoyment of winning because there is a winner at the end of the game. And there's actually a lot of enjoyment in being the odd man out sometimes, which is hysterical because you're thinking, everyone else is an idiot. I, of course, know the right answer. How could you all be so wrong? And then on the next turn, you're back in with the cool kids. Everybody's laughing together. This is a very fun game to play. Played tons of cards in here. Green Team wins.
My number 2 is Almanac the Crystal Peaks. It is about merchants that are traveling through exotic locations, gathering resources in order to then sell them and make an amazing profit. But each of those exotic locations has new game rules that you have to do, and you kind of get to decide which location you go to from wherever you are in. So it's just a really interesting game because each one is a little bit different because, do you choose your own adventure path? go to site A or B. There's just a lot of fun. Check it out from Colossal Games, Almanac, The Crystal Peak.
Mine's it was a close one. Close one. I'm going for Ryan's. Lacrimosa down here.
Mine has got a steady win stack.
Yeah, but remember those words not gonna.
Whoa! What's happening? Waiting for the restack till the final round?
Wow.
Change your votes.
Oh no, it's not looking good for me.
Everybody's been stealing all the good stuff. I'm feeling confident about how tall mine will be
I feel like this is not gonna
after round 1. What's just gonna happen right there?
What is happening?
That Wonderland War expansion.
The prototype with the unstable cardboard box is
love
gonna
it.
be
I love it.
the Achilles heel in this
Poor
situation.
Ryan doesn't have a real pen of unknown.
One's coming, apparently.
Oh, this is so
Precarious.
I gotta
Make an effort. One more. Oh, I took the lead.
What's his number 1? I don't know. We'll find out.
All right, lead stacks on top.
I'm a big fan of classical music, and there are very few games that have sort of that theme, but here we have one, Lacrimosa from Devir. I love this game. This is all about finishing Mozart's Requiem, the Lacrimosa movement, and one of the main things I like about this game is the dual use cards. It's so cool how that works, and I will say this might be the best box cover of 2022.
My number 2 game is the Guild of Merchant Explorers from AEG. One of the reasons that I really love this game is because of how many times I've played it. This game is really easy to get out on the table and to teach a new person who maybe doesn't play a bunch of games, or you want to introduce them to a fun, easy to play game. This is the one that you should do. This game's from AEG. It plays probably in about an hour. It's all simultaneous play with a few variables in there as the rounds continue. This is my number 2 game of the year. Number 1! So here's the thing, I already know that the top game of the year for some of these guys behind me is coming out of my stack.
He's losing it.
So here's the thing, I've got a restack coming, and so I gotta go for it. I'm already lost my stack.
My game is coming in, it's so huge. If I can balance it, it'll be
can't.
amazing.
He can't
I'm
balance
breaking-
it.
No
I'm
way.
breaking a
If
bunch
he
of my
does,
games.
he cheated.
He can't balance it. There's no chance.
I can't wait. Here we go.
Ryan
I
might.
feel like I picked the best game because mine is the smallest.
I should have switched to my number 2 and my number 1.
Yep. You do get to restack, though.
Right now, though. Wait till the last minute.
Alright. This game came along and just really ticked off all the boxes for me. Foundations of Rome from Arcane Wonders. This game is so awesome with how the gameplay is, maybe you would say, simple or easy to understand, but the strategy is really complex. So it's really easy to teach players how to play, but then really grappling with and understanding how all the different things you can do in the game to make it super strategic is super fun for me. What lots am I purchasing? What buildings am I placing in those lots? Later in the game, am I overbuilding on those buildings? So, and there's also a lot of variability to this game. This is really heavy, guys. There's a lot of variability to this game too. Different modules that you can add in, which I really enjoy. And last but not least, the table presence. This game looks so cool by the time the game is all done. Even during the game it's cool, but by the time the game's done, awesome game. Foundations of Rome!
My number 1, also stealing from Jonah's stack.
Ah, do it.
From the bottom.
Okay.
It is Guild of the Merchant Explorers from AEG. I love that there's different maps that all have a little bit different things going on. It's not just, something that's been shuffled, but there are different rules to some of the maps. And Jonah talked about it at length already, but it is an amazing game. I highly recommend it, and someday I may beat Melissa. We don't know. She's my eternal nemesis at this game. But I hope and pray that someday I will win. My number 1, Guild of the Merchant Explorers.
My number one game of 2022 is Ark Nova. If you've played this game, you know how much hype surrounded this game. In this game, you're playing as a zookeeper, I believe, building enclosures and getting animals. I really love this game because of how many facets and how many different avenues and the things that you can do inside the game. I also really love the action selection and how it works via cards that you kind of rearrange as you take the actions, and the longer you leave them still, the more powerful the actions are. It is my absolute number one game of the year, Ark Nova.
I have a question. Is that even shown on your camera?
I hope so. I hope it's in there. Jonah, it's not looking good for you, man. Even in maximum stack capacity. Kevin has me right now.
Yeah, but
Tread lightly. Tread lightly.
No.
Inhale.
It's gotta last till the end of the video, Ryan.
My number one game is the Everdell Complete Collection. I've been following this game from the beginning, a big fan of the art style, of the gameplay, of all the really cool components that are in the game. They've added to it over and over in addition every year. There's something for everybody. If you like Take That, if you like beautiful pieces, if you like tableau building, there are different expansions that offer all of those things. I have very thoroughly enjoyed this game with my family. I know there are some flaws in it, I'll be honest. There are a couple of little holes in different places. I think the newest New Leaf expansion adds those wax seal puppies that lets you reserve a card, which is brilliant. It fixes stuff that we've had issues with maybe from the very beginning. I think they've done a really, really fantastic job of packaging it all together in this mega, ginormous bundle, and Everdell is my number one game for this year. All right, here we go. Is this, and I can stack it. We're going this way? I have to. Wait, maybe this way. Is that what I
that'll
get
work.
here?
That'll work.
Oh gosh. Here we go.
It all comes down to this.
I don't believe it.
Don't
Can
stop.
you Adam and Eve it?
Believe
I
it.
don't believe it either. It's not gonna make it. Oh! Come on, recenter. Center that soul. Exhale.
He's gotta say.
Congratulations, Ryan!
Ryan.
Turn to the stack! Thank you guys so much
job,
for liking,
Ryan.
following along, high five, and thumbing us up in the video. Make sure you go watch the ladies' top 10. Have a Merry Christmas.
3,000 likes!
Come on,
And we're
Tarzan.
3,000 likes, and we're giving away a copy of the Guild of Merchant Explorers, the Everdell Complete Collection, Foundations
most
of Rome,
expensive
and
games
Ark Nova. Like the video, leave a comment, let us know how we did with our top games of 2022.
Bye.
I want to see how you're gonna get green tea and then Everdell on top of that.
He's not.
It's not.
That's a big loss. He got
A huge loss. You're already disqualified. Ryan. This looks like vintage tray art, but it really isn't.
It does. My number one game is the Everdell Ultimate Mega Super, what's it called? The Complete Collection. My number one game is games that we've had an opportunity to play over the course of this year, have been published in 2020, and as
2022.
oh yeah, time is flying. And as per the usual, should we do it one more time?
It was a good save.
That was pretty good. Hey gang, thanks for joining us at Tater House Studio 3.